questions, and let's talk IT. Brought to you by the St. Kitts Nevis Robotics Association.
How was your day? Glad you could join us today. We got it with no time to play, with no time to wait. So we're gonna keep up the pace. Hey, most likely, y'all don't know about IT. I mean, like, most of the old folks, they don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Today we're talking IT.
Yeah, okay, hey,
Today we're talking IT.
yeah, alright,
We're gonna keep it lively.
Okay.
Learning here is likely.
Hey.
When we're talking IT. IT.
yeah, hey,
Today we're talking IT.
know your computers, this for the viewers.
Today we're talking IT.
We are the tutors, we got the humor, yeah.
Today we're talking IT.
okay.
Learning here is likely.
Learn to hear is likely, so let's start IT.
Hey, it's your boy Ever Williams. We're here to talk about Let's Talk IT at 98.9 with FM. And today we have our host, Dr. Ricardo Neal, also known as St. Kitts Iron Man.
St. Kitts Iron Man, okay.
I'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, so I think I'm not new to Win FM.
You're not new at all.
So I'm one of those person who is always, well, I try to be here as much as possible. As a matter of fact, I get a lot of calls to be here, with the team, Let's Talk IT team. Sometimes I can make it, sometimes I can't make it, but definitely once I get a chance, then I am here. A few weeks ago, I think, Sanjeev would have reached out to me a few weeks ago, but I was caught up with the preparation and the planning process for the Capstone project.
Yeah.
All right. And also we have a few things that we're working on in SKNRA that take some time. And then you have colleges on the, I think we're doing finals now. Finals happening now. I think today should be the last day. So a number of things have happening. Practicals have been going on. So a lot of that have been going on. A lot of things have been happening since. But once I get a call, definitely I have to be here. So I'm here today.
It's good to see you here today. So, as you know, that today was the Capstone event for the second years.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So, for the public who, I want to say thanks for all our listeners and viewers, firstly, before I jump into it. All right. So today, let me start here. So every year we have what is called the Capstone Competency-Based project, right? So it's a project that is put on under the heading of the Clarence Fitzgerald College. And the event takes place at the Marriott's. But more importantly, the students who participate in this event would be students from the TVEM's IT program, right? When we say TVEM's, we're talking about the Technical Vocational Education and Management Studies Division at the college, which is overseen by Dean Andrew Abraham. One of the best program in my preview that is at the college, and I'm going to be biased here because I'm in IT, so I'm going to be biased all the way. So the IT program, for those of you who are listening, is the best program at the college. The one at TVEM's, just saying, all right? So that program actually we have about 20 plus students in year one and another 25, 28, somewhere there for year two. The program generally cap, which means we stop at a certain applicants. So we can't take everyone.
So there's a limit to it.
There's a limit to the program, right? So we take it. Now, if it was up to me, I put everybody in, but we can't. So we cap at a certain amount. So those students are responsible to take 24 courses in a 2-year period, which means every semester, which is about 3 months, they should be exposed to about 6 courses, approximately 6 courses. And at the end of that, then they should be eligible to graduate, right? Now, in order for them to graduate, they must do a program called Capstone and internship. Yeah. But today, we're not here to talk about internship.
Just Capstone.
All right, so we're talking about Capstone. So Capstone means, the term capstone simply means that at the end of a particular tenure at university or college, a student is required to write a paper or design something that encapsulate the entire courses that they would have covered over a period of time, right? So today was the day, the 31st of May, and I must say May is my month. So all the May month persons out there, big up, right? So today is the 31st, where the second year students who are graduating in November, providing that they pass. Anyway, graduating in November, they would have assigned the task to present at the Marriotts. So what are they presenting? They are presenting their research projects that they would have been working on for the last, I believe, year or 6 months to a year, right? They have been working on that project. Now, these projects, and I want to say exactly what these projects are, and then I'm going to kind of rally back to give you a little bit of insight as to the history and introduction of where Capstone came from, right? But these projects would be innovation and research development, which is headed by Ms. Zahara James. So Ms. Zahara James is responsible for innovation and research development. So each student is assigned a particular research project to do, right? Which makes it fun.
How much groups are there?
So this year we have, we were hoping to have about 8, but we have about 7 this year, if my memory serves me right, about 7 this year. In the previous year, we have had like 8. Yeah. All right, and it was fun. As a matter of fact, this year is the first capstone that we're having since COVID. So when the introduction of COVID would have delayed our capstone events for the last 2 years, so we have not had no capstone event, and the private sector who would have been in attendance, they would have asked, what happened, what's going on. But we had to follow the COVID protocol. So we were down for 2 years. So this year is the year when we came back, right, out of the woods, right? We came back and we decided that we're going to, we must have Capstone this year. So the Capstone projects, the research, and we call them research projects because they are continuous. Yes. So they're not like a classroom assignment where you're given a project to do, and then you are required to turn it into the teacher give you a grade, and then that's it. No, that's not how we do research projects. So our research projects are based on continuous development. So from one cycle of students to another cycle of students to another cycle of students. So the students who are in year 1 now will actually inherit the research projects from the students who are in year 2.
So it's like you inherit them, right, and try to improve them better than how it was. Right. So it's like you keep on growing. Right. You keep on time. Right. Yes.
So you keep on make it better and better and better and better. So we feel that is a better approach in research as opposed to just allow students to write a paper and then get a grade and that's it. Yeah. That is counterproductive.
And that shows that the students can have a creative mindset of, putting on stuff on it.
Yeah, of course. And so they can add their touch to it.
Building their idea on it. Yeah,
right. So we're not saying that they can't come up with their own ideas. If a person out there was listening saying, right. So, but you can come up with your own fresh idea. But we have not prerequisite, but we have fixed projects that students are required to work on. So the first one that we have there is research and development that Miss Zahara James is actually in charge of. So Zahara did an excellent job today at Capstone. She did a marvelous job. She was able to present her project in a very stylish and fashionable manner. Yes. So that was excellent today. She was kind of nervous at first, but Zahara pulled through. And so for those of you who know Zahara, give Zahara a shout out when you see Zahara. All right. So Zahara did an excellent job. Okay, I think maybe we're going to need a round of applause button that we press each time. Yeah. And we think about those things. All right. And then we have drone technology research and development, which is headed by Mr. Brandon Campbell. And his assistant would be Mr. Johan Boston. So they worked on that project and they presented today. And their project is very, very exciting. But we're going to talk some more about the projects just to give you just an overview as to what actually took place. Then we have the third research project is Humanoid Research Development, which is headed by Miss Hutchinson, Michelle Hutchinson. And assistant to that group is Kevicia Gomes. Right, so they work on that project. And we're going to talk some more about those projects for those persons who are listening. I want to hear what robotics research and human research are they talking about. Don't worry. we're coming to you. Robotics, particularly, is actually headed by DeAndre Emmanuel, right? So he had that project. And all the students that we are mentioning here, they are all final year students. So they're not year one students, they're final year students who will be graduating, as I said before. And then we have the other group, which is Web Application and Design Research Development, which is headed by Miss Asia Clark, and her assistant is Miss Liebert. And they did an excellent job. So they pulled off a very good presentation this morning. They actually showcased code, what code they used to write the program, right? So they didn't use anything pre-generic. So they did what they were supposed to do in terms of showing code and writing code. So that was excellent. The sixth group would have been Computer Repairs, Research and Development by Mr. Ronaldo Diaz. So he did an excellent job. He actually came up with, built upon his predecessors, the previous students.
Yes.
They worked on a vacuum chamber, and the idea behind that, we're going to discuss that again. All right. And then we did not have a networking group this year, right? No networking group this year. However, next year we will have in a networking group. All right. So we didn't have a networking group this year. So we did have a gaming development group this year. This gaming group is rather different.
Yeah.
So this would be a previous student who graduated last year, who did not get a chance to showcase his Capstone project, and he decided that, hey, I hear that Capstone is going on this year, so I want to show my things. So Mr. Anthony Jitlal, I hope I'm pronouncing his name properly, right? He came in and he showcased a game that he wrote, and persons were fascinated about it. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to test the game out. But Anthony, I know you're probably saying, Dr. need to get a chance to see my game. But don't worry, Anthony, I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it again. So those are the groups that we had. But what made the event very, very intriguing is that one of the past students from the IT program who actually attended Capstone before, right, was able to attend as an owner of her business.
Yes.
All right. And so I was proud of the fact that as a result of the IT program and also as a result of the Capstone program, she was able to form her own business and then come to showcase her business to get more business. Right? So that was excellent for Karima. So those were the groups that actually present at the Marriott today. So that was really, really good. That was a very proud moment for me to see them, students coming back. I must say, Akan Maynard also turned up. So Akan came back, who also started his own company. But he came to show his face to make sure that we all remember him. All right, so that's actually good. So those are the research groups that we have under the IT program at the college that students are assigned to, and they are required to present. Some of them. Yes.
That's quite interesting. Even for students that be coming from past years to show off their own business, bringing out their skill on the table, and just trying to get my everyday life going.
Yeah, it's actually a good thing to have past students coming back on the scene to showcase their work.
Yes.
It's not every day you see something like that, which is actually excellent. But let me jump a bit in the beginning, where Capstone started from.
Yes.
Because prior to me being at the college, Capstone was there before. It was a part of the curriculum. It was there, but we did not take it to this extent, right? So let me not say we, but it wasn't taken to that extent by the previous, lecturers who were there. So they didn't push it to that extent. So when I got there, we had probably about 11 students in each year around that. So the numbers were really, really low at the time, all right? And so my first decision there when I joined the college fraternity is to ask a few questions. You always want to do an evaluation first. If somebody hand you something to take over, you evaluate it first to see, okay, why it's not working, if it's not working, and what makes it work if it's working.
Yes.
All right. So we evaluate and realize that there are some shortcomings. For example, one of the questions is, why do you have a low influx of students within the program, right? So you look at, okay, what are the variables that cause that?
Yes.
Right, and sometimes one of the variables that would pop out, because it's a tertiary program, is the relationship between the program and the private sector, all right? And also relationship between the program and the high schools or secondary schools, right? And relationship between the program and the community, right? Because one of the stigma that tends to be around is that persons who attend the TVEMS area probably are low skilled, which is highly untrue. You understand, right? That's not we call that myth and some legend, some old story thing, and that was in the past. If that was the case, that might have been the past. There's a whole cycle has changed now. All right, we have some of the most educated people at the technical division, some of the more hands-on, some of the more skilled, well-researched, well-written persons. So that whole archaic thought has gone through the door. Right. So now what we have now happening at the college, as a matter of fact, at the technical division, we have more influx of students trying to get into the technical division than the main campus, right? Crazy. And I think the reason why is because there is an understanding that the CAPE is just CXC based, right? However, the technical division offer college program. An actual college program. So you're going to college, you do college work, right? Yes. So actual college program. So it is viewed from that perspective by the community and by various persons who would have interacted with. So they see it from that perspective. And so they actually latch on to the technical division as the best way to go. Yes. And also one must recognize that once you attend the TVEMS era of the college, you are essentially putting yourself in a position to have your credits, to have credits where you can transfer credits if you decide to move on to another university.
So you make it more easier.
Yeah, easier. So these are some of the factors why I looked on once I came on board. So the other thing that we looked on was how can we actually make the program even better than what it is, right? To make it better, right? And so in most cases, when persons want to make something better, you look on the curriculum in this case, and you say, okay, all right, how can I refine the curriculum to make it better? But I took a different angle. The angle that I took was to introduce research projects, right? Research projects, and look on what is going on in universities, colleges, what is going on in the industry overall, right? Especially institutions that dedicate themselves to research and R&D, right? Dedicate to R&D. So we look at that, and so I decided, hey, why not implement research projects? So identify a few projects, and then implement them and use them as the guide to continue, right? And so I went to the class. We started about 2014, somewhere there, and I put the idea to the class. Say, hey, students, what project you guys want to work on? And some say, hey, we want to do computer repairs. Some say we want to do web design. Some said want to do robotics. And at that time, all of these things were, basic stuff. We didn't have much resource and that kind of thing. So that is where it started from. And then while that is going on, then I would have moved into the private sector to get a feel from the private sector. Hey, what are your thoughts about the IT students coming out to you? And so some of the private sector, partners would say, hey, I think they're deficient in this area, deficient in that area. Bear in mind, we can't meet all the criteria, right? Because it's just an associate degree for 2 years. Yes. Can't meet all the criteria, right? If it's a master's degree program, that's different, right? Yep. But it's an associate degrry program, right? Well, some people would say the amount of work the doctor will give them is master's degree. But anyway, right? So we could meet all the criteria. So we would not meet all the criteria because it's an associate degree. Yes. So we decide, okay, we're going to, fulfill some of the obligations and find out what the private sector is doing and merge it into the IT program. Yeah. And I think that is where our turning point came, where we begin to listen to the private sector, look at what they are doing, and then fuse it into what we're doing. And in some cases, put forth what we're doing, which we feel that would be industry standards, which is going on, not necessarily field, but industry standards which exist out there. And we put them, as a part of the curriculum day-to-day operation, and then we look on the hidden curriculum, right? And the hidden curriculum, for those who are listening, definitely and watching, right, would be the part of the curriculum that is not necessarily written in the curriculum, in that guide that you used to teach, right? But it's the part where you try to get students to appreciate the lesson. Whether it's college students, based, whatever level you're at, right? The hidden curriculum is designed to get students appreciative of what the lesson is, right? So just like the research projects, they are designed to get students to appreciate what is being taught in the classroom, right? So even if you feel bored in the classroom, I have a research project to work on, and this is what I like, and this is what, gets me going. Yeah. So that is where we actually started from there. So in 2014, we designed that, and then we moved into our first capstone. I think it was 2015. I think that was the first one. I'm not sure, but I think it's 2015 was the first one. All right, and when we had that one, we had it in a very small room.
It was a very small room?
Yeah, it was classroom 3 and 4.
Oh, so it was on the...
on the school compound.
Oh, okay.
Right, on the school compound. Unlike now, where we are at Marriott,
yes.
Right? So we had about 20 private sector persons in the room. ECCB was there. ECCB have been with us forever. So ECCB representatives, were there. I must say, Janelle Lake from ECCB was there at that time when we first, started out, and she's there even now, right? So she was present today. So we started about 20 private sector persons came. So we invited them. We invited the president of CFBC at the time. We got the dean involved. We got the vice president of academics, and all of them came in the room, and we had a little ceremony, and students showcased their work and so forth. And then, even then, the private sector was fascinated about what was being done. For me, I'm thinking about how can I make this thing better, bigger and better. So that was going on in my head, right? So that was the first year, and it was excellent. And some parents came also, all right? And I believe a number of private sector came on board at the time who actually supported some of the project at that time, which was actually good. And then we moved from 2015, then we have 2016 Capstone, 2017, and then we begin to grow, and the word begin to hit the airwave. Hey, you need to do IT at TVEMS because that's the place to be, right? So that was where things begin to change, And then the teaching methods, the delivery methods would have changed. Into more, exemplary, let me say more demonstrative learning, and get the practicals going and match practicals with theory and that kind of stuff. So that approach changed, and that caused the interest to grow from the students. So that lead up to about 2018, 2019. So that is how the introduction of the Capstone project itself started.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Started from a living, reaching to here exactly how it is right now. Starting from a small room with little minor projects to big projects that's out there that's benefiting in many areas in the world. In St. Kitts as well.
Yeah.
So to be on exact with the IT program with their capstones, in value in which does any of the project that was being created has been put out there as yet?
Right. So and in terms of having a marketable product,
yes.
we don't have a marketable product as yet, which is something that we're aiming towards. That's a very important question that you ask, because if we look at it from the perspective of students each year working on these projects, right? Let's say we reach at the 8th student, the 8th batch.
Yeah.
And that 8th batch refine the product. And refine the project, and it comes out of the prototype stage, and it becomes a product.
Yes.
Who owns that? So you see, those are some things that we have to look at.
Yeah, that's
I was thinking about that for, last year, this year, thinking about, how do we ensure that the students who work on these projects, if they should become a product, not when they become a product, right? When they become a product, how do they benefit? And that's a discussion that we're having now as to ensuring that our records are kept up to date.
Yes.
So we know who worked on what. And then we have the appropriate rights given to the appropriate students, right? So that's where we are. So we have not come out of a prototype stage as yet. And we're not rushing it out of a prototype stage either, because we want to make sure it is done properly.
Yes.
All right. We're eager that it must be done properly, done right, perfect, to the teeth. Right, to the T, our teeth,
To the T.
to the T? Okay, to the T, I think to the T, yeah, to the T, right? So I want to make sure it's done right. So we haven't had a product out there as yet. However, some of our projects are on the verge of very good, they're in very good position. They're positioned really, really well. For example, robotics is positioned really well. Drone is positioned really, really well. Web designing, for that project, we do have students out there, past students out there, who would have designed commercial grade, functioning websites. So we do have that. The networking and so forth, we do have students functioning in those areas, like where they are working now. Let me not say students, but past students. I have to correct myself each time because they are grown adult now. Yeah. All right. So we do have them functioning in those areas. But in terms of robotics and engineering, robotics research, and humanoid technology, AI, those are still at a stage where it is being worked on continuously to make sure that when it becomes a product, it is a product, right? And that's something that we have to take back to the drawing board ever so often. All right, so no product is out there as yet, and we're not rushing it, so we're taking our time to slowly refine as we go along.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So one more question in this formal exam. After finishing off Capstone and
you mean the students?
Yes, students finishing off Capstone and graduate and stuff like that. What does the IT benefits to them? What are they gain?
Well, they gain a lot. I mean, I think if I was doing IT now, let's say I was your guys' age, I'm like 100 right now. So
150, she said. 150.
Right. So if I should go back in time and I am present now, and there's a lecturer at the college now, like me, I'm doing IT. so I'm gonna, and that's because the approach has changed, and the approach is more fitting you into the real world. So the gain that the students would have harnessed out of this is being efficient at what they're doing. Learn time management skills. And I'm talking about outside of just the skill set, right? Time management skills, being efficient, able to take commands, able to oversee themselves on a project, being responsible, right? So those are some of the skill set that they would have gained out of it. In terms of the skill in completing task, right? A long list of tasks is actually there, a long list of tasks. And so that is why we actually, invite, students, who are in high school, who are interested in IT, apply to the college, because there's a lot of gain to actually get out of it. And not only that, they also gain credits that is transferable at universities overseas. And we do have students overseas. As a matter of fact, we need to probably get in some of them one of these days to share their experience, at the university that they're at, and how they would have, made the transition between St. Kitts and Nevis and FIU, because we have a number of students at FIU right now who graduated from the IT program. We have some of them at Monroe. We have some of them at Ohio State University. So they have gained a lot in terms of positioning them to be able to make the transition into universities overseas. And these students who have gone through Capstone already. So just the same, one of our very first female who have been a part of Capstone. And I talk about her all the time. Faith Howell. I hope she hear that. I hope she hear her name all the time. So Faith Howell was one of the first female students who actually presented her idea and her concept in problem solving, and it came off really well. I think that was one of the points at which Capstone was seen as a revolution in terms of transforming students' idea, their whole ideology of just not just about grade, but about solving problems, right? So those are some of the gains that it would actually attract coming out of the Capstone project and also out of the IT program at the college.
That's
Yeah, and I'm
amazing.
honored to actually be a part of that project.
Yes.
Yeah, honored to be a part of the project.
It carries a lot of dignity,
Yeah.
carrying that. And as I said, it benefits in every criteria area, and it shows that students that apply for there could put out the experience, grow with it, and show what they can create.
Which is good. That's what you want.
Yes, that's creativity.
Yeah, you see, education cannot be defined as just writing a paper. It can't be. If you define education as regurgitating information, that's not solving any problem.
Yeah, but that's true, right?
That will solve
And
problems.
the thing is, like writing a paper and stuff like that. That's like showing that what you have to offer. What about skill?
Yeah, what
can you do?
can we use?
Yeah, what can you use? Or
What
what can you do?
what can we use to solve something? What can we use to
Yes.
fix a problem? So for me, okay. So for me, if someone see me on the roadside and say, "Hey Neil," I'm okay. If somebody see me and say, "Hey Dr. Neil," I'm okay. I'm not caught up in what you call me. I'm caught up in what problems are we solving now? what's
the
next
issue?
problem? Yeah, what's the
Yeah.
next problem we need to solve, and how can we solve this problem? So some people get caught up in that educational setting where the letters behind the name. I have a lot behind my name. Letters behind the name, or what can't be caught up in that. You have to be caught up in how can we solve a problem? How can we make a transformation within the region? All right, especially in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I think we are positioning well. I think we're at a good position in the academia section at the college. I think we're positioned well specifically within IT. I could talk about the other programs at the college, but I'm going to leave that for the dean. All right? But specifically, IT is positioned in a very nice area to actually fulfill a number of the things that we need in St. Kitts and Nevis here. So these research projects are something that is of pride and joy to me. So when the students today presented on their project, I felt really, really well. I felt well that they were able to hold their ground, present with conviction, believe in what they're presenting, and that's important. You must believe in what you're doing, because if you do not believe in what you're doing, you're going to go in it halfway.
Yeah.
You're gonna
issues, and you're
you're gonna
back
have
and
it.
then-
But once you believe in what you're doing, you're gonna go all out. For example, a student asked me before at the college, Dr. Neil, do you ever get up in the morning and feel like you don't want to go to work tomorrow? And I said, no. And he was like, dude, you're lying. And I said, yeah, that's true. I don't have that feeling. And I think because you are involved in what you love, and then you understand the importance of what you're in. And once you understand that, then that's going to be a motivating factor. That is why I never teach from the perspective of just teach to pass. Because teach to pass help nobody.
You don't help nobody.
Help nobody.
Doesn't.
You can have all the distinction in the world, right? And if you were taught to pass, then you are a failure. That's my that's my thing. Because you should know how to do something.
Yes.
You should know how to carry out a task. So I generally lecture and teach for you to understand. That is my philosophy.
Yes.
I teach for you to understand, and then you demonstrate, right? So I don't need to teach you to pass, because if you understand and you're able to demonstrate, then you're already a winner.
Yeah, you
so
already know what to do.
you know what to do. So I
Yes.
don't need to bother with we need to get through these past papers quickly because you must get a distinction. No. If I teach you or lecture to you to understand, then you're going to pass. Understand and demonstrate, then you're going to pass. So those go hand in hand. So I tend to use that as my philosophy when it comes down to research projects or just lecturing in class. You must understand. All right. I will lecture for 3 hours straight. Those are a lot of students have suffered that faith of me talking to them for 2 hours straight, not nonstop. So they suffer that faith. All right. But it was all in good, right? So the students were able to present today, and it was a wonderful thing because it showcased that the students within St. Kitts and Nevis, young people within St. Kitts and Nevis, they are no different than the young people in Timbuktu, right? No different from the young people in the other 200 countries in the world. They are not different in terms of skill set. They're not different in terms of ability. They're different, none of that, right? Those young people who are able to write apps and develop programs and re-engineer software or engineer software, develop products and services. It's not different from any kitchen and division. It's not different. They're not different. None at all. I think the only thing that is needed a lot of times is just the motivation.
That's true.
Yeah, you need a champion to say, hey, you can. Right? And just get rid of this negativity that is around them. Because there's a lot of negativity around.
Yes.
And so kind of get rid of negativity around them that, hey, you are better than that, right? So once the environment that they're in changes, then you find that you as a lecturer, as a teacher, don't have to force them to do something.
That's true.
Because they have already seen the importance of what the thing is. They understand that this research is about product and development. It is about transformation of the economy, right? It's about changing the GDP of the country. It is about taking care of you and your family or your relatives. It's about taking care of everybody around. It's about empowering you. It's about giving you things that you never had before.
Yes.
So once the environment is changed, then you find that the response from the young people within the environment is different.
Yes.
Right? If a college student is in an environment that is negative, he or she will have to fight to overcome that negativity, plus try to get their work done. That's a lot of struggle, a lot of pressure. A lot of us have been through it. I've been through it. I've been to college where I'm under pressure and stress, home stress, right? Friend stress, girlfriend stress, right? All the stress, right? So we have been through all of that, but we had to maintain a certain level of focus, which was difficult to maintain because the environment was tough.
Yes.
Right. So once the program, in our case, the IT program has an environment that fosters research and development.
Yes.
It fosters that. So once you get in there, those are the words that you're going to be told about: research, development, right? Changing the environment. So because that's the kind of focus you find that the students are able to do their research on the projects and present them, right? So you want me to touch on the projects now, or you want to?
You touch on the project now.
So we did mention that we have about six projects today. That presented. The seventh one would have been Anthony Jeetlal, who present his game. Now, Anthony Jeetlal is a former student from the Clarence Fitzgerald College, and he's also a proud graduate from the TVEM's IT program, right? The best program at the college, hands down. I'm going to be biased now, right? So Anthony graduated. Now, prior to him graduating, he wanted to present his research project, but unfortunately, Mr. COVID said no, and so he had to stay home. All right. So this year he came to me and said, "Hey, Dr. Neil, I want to present my game," and I was glad because I knew he put a lot of effort and energy into his project, and I felt really bad last year when they couldn't present, and the year before it was really a struggle. We wanted to do the presentation on a more basic level, but I felt that for the amount of work that the student put in, it would undermine that. So we decided, no, we're gonna wait, right? So he decided he wanted to present. So he presented on a game that he wrote. He infused with the game the Oculus, am I right?
Oculus, VR.
The VR Oculus, and with the sensors, the wired version, which we prefer than the wireless version, because the wireless version has too much challenges. It drops out every now and then. So he presented using that, and he not only presented to the immediate group that came to his booth. So for the audience who is listening, at the Marriott today we had the Capstone, TVEM's Capstone presentation by the IT students. They were in the St. Kitts ballroom, St. Kitts and Nevis ballroom, and so each group were given a booth, and so each booth would have about 4 to 5 students, except Zahara, who was the only person in her group.
Yes.
All right.
One-man group.
Yeah, one-man group. So each of them are given booth, and so they're responsible for coming up with a concept for their project, real life solutions to problems, and then they should present to the audience, and the audience would have made up of ambassadors, government officials, CFBC management staff, high schools, private sector agencies, and so we have a number of persons who were there at the event. So they're responsible to present their project to them. Now, why? Why has a lot of answers to it, right?
Yes,
but
yes.
one of the reasons why is because we want to ensure that the private public sector is aware of the research that is actually going on, right? Another reason is that we want the students to be in an environment where it breaks the stigma of them can't and put them in can, right? So we break all those stigma. And also another reason is we also wanted the private sector to know them. So when the time comes for them to apply for jobs, right? These organizations are not saying, well, who is that person? We're not sure who is that person. But somebody would say in the company, hey, we went to a function and we saw them presenting. So you have that kind of fusion that is actually going on. Yes. So that's the whole nature of the Capstone project. So Anthony Jitlal, he presented his game using the VR headset, and it was amazing. Everybody wanted to see what's going on there. Unfortunately, again, I didn't get a chance to see it, but I want to see it because I'm the lecturer, so I'm going to see it eventually.
Yes.
All right, so it was good. We did have, and I don't want to miss anyone at all, and I think maybe you guys should have a show where you invite each leader to come and talk about the project, because I'm going to do it in justice. So we have Zahara who looked at the concept of food conservation.
Yes.
So she looked at how can we feed St. Kitts and Nevis effectively. Yes. All right. And so she looked at creating a dome-like structure where you can grow almost every single plant that is consumed within St. Kitts and Nevis, and also which perhaps it doesn't grow here, but it's something that is good for the human body, right? So she created an entire structure that actually represent food security. Now, the dome-like structure that she presented is a structure that can handle up to category 7. And so because the idea of the food security is not only to have enough food, but to have the food secure, because you can have enough food and you do not have enough security, and then over time you are depleted. Yes, right. All right, so we have to protect that. And so she looked at it from the perspective of hurricane disasters and even diseases, because if you have food being grown within a certain environment, you can protect it. Yes. Just like the similar to the greenhouses that we have here, or the hydroponics that we have here. But we take the hydroponic to another level to make a larger environment where the amount of food that is being grown there is able to feed the entire population of St. Kitts and Nevis, right? And so the whole reliance doesn't have to be on the boats coming in. Because when she started working on the project, the first thing I remember is a few years ago when we had hurricane. We have a series of hurricane a few years ago, and the boats stopped coming. You know what I'm saying? And things begin to get brown, as they say, right? And so we felt that we had to look on something, and so the students, looked in that area. And so Zahara actually inherited a project that the students actually worked on previously. So that in itself was something that was awesome, right? So that's Zahara. Then you have drone development by Brandon. Now, drone development, again, is an adopted program that came over from the previous students. Yes. Now, the students who had the drone before, and for our listeners, the drones that we're talking about is not the small drones. We're talking about huge drones that is able to spray farm. Yes. Right? So that's the concept that we have. So his job is to look at St. Kitts and Nevis and see how can we actually aid the farmers. How can we provide the technology to help the farmers to spray the plants. Right now, we do know that this technology is available. We are fully aware of that. So some of them are available. They're very expensive. So we felt that if we are able to design these drones or design these technology, it would actually cut the cost of us repairing something that we purchase from a company overseas, right? So if we design it here, we can assemble it here, right? Get the stamp of approval here, and begin to ship them out here, right? And so we are the repairers, we are the engineers, we are the designers, and we are the producers, right? Just like that. So Brandon's task was given to him to refine the drone, and so he was able to move to a breakthrough today, where the drone, prior to him, the drone would not fly, and it's huge. So again, for those who are listening and watching, we're talking about a large tank that is on the drone that carries a few gallons of water, or water or liquid, you know. And so his job is to ensure that that is able to lift off the ground, right? So he had to get the right motors, the right equipment for everything.
Yes.
And so they were able to get the drone lift off the ground, which is actually good. So the previous students, I'm sure they're saying, right, yes, they did it. Because it has been a constant uphill battle to ensure that that project is able to work how you want it to work.
Yeah.
Because once we refine that, then we know exactly how to reproduce whatever we need to reproduce. So Brandon Campbell was able to do that. So congratulations to Brandon and Zahara for their project today. Right, humanoid technology was overseen by Michelle Hutchinson. And for those of you who are familiar with the humanoid technology that we looked on, we are still looking on prosthesis, right? Because we do in the Caribbean suffer from, a lot of diabetic, patients are in the Caribbean region, and so it leads to amputation and so forth. So we felt that if we introduce research projects for humanoid, that would be awesome, where the students can work on that and see if we can refine it for it to replace and also to cut the cost for prosthesis, because those things are very expensive.
Yes.
All right, and we feel that using 3D printer to print the parts would be more effective. So that's Michelle's presentation. She did an excellent job in actually explaining the purpose, explaining the reason for the project, going in depth as to how persons are affected and how they can be helped using this particular project and percentages and so forth. So it was really, really good. So she did a very great job in doing so. So I'm sure again at the next show we might have them. You guys might have them here to actually talk about individual projects, because I'm doing injustice to it. But they did an excellent job. The other project in depth that we looked at that was presented today was robotics, right? Robotics for me is life. Robotics for me is life, right? So robotics is a big deal because robotics is not only just for a Capstone event. You know, we have a national team, and then we have a whole association that is developed as a result of the Capstone project.
Yes.
All right. So that project is spearheaded by Mr. Emmanuel, and he was able to talk about the importance of robotics within the society and how robots can actually help and aid. Now, we're not saying that robots are going to take over the entire St. Kitts and Nevis. What we're saying is we can work alongside robots to make life better for us.
Better and easier.
And we can go down the road of discussing, different scientists as to what their views are and what they feel about, loss of jobs. We can talk about all of that. But the students were able to present on a number of the projects that would have been built up over the years, such as the robots that we took to Washington, D.C., Mexico, Dubai, so they would have refined those projects, and then they look on other projects, other cutting-edge projects that we feel that we can design here to actually aid in the COVID era. So they did speak to that. One of the other projects that came out is the computer repairs project, and that is spearheaded by Mr. Diaz. And so he looked on a vacuum chamber. Yeah. So he's looking on how can I repair hard drives. And so their person out there will say, why you want to repair a hard drive when you can buy one? Yeah. And that's the wrong thinking, right?
What do you think is like once you gone down, you just straight away?
Just straight away, and that kind of stuff. It could be fake because there are companies in the United States that actually repair hard drives. That's what they do. They fix hard drives, and the process is not difficult. Yes. But because we are more of a consuming set of people, we don't really think about let's repair this. We just consume, and we just throw it. So he looked on that to repair hard drives. And so he created a vacuum chamber. It's still a work in progress.
Yeah.
Again, it is a project that was handed over to him from the other students, and so he refined it, and he went all out to ensure that project is actually come alive. So that's what Mr. Diaz did, which was excellent on his part. Yes, I think that's it. Did I miss any? I think those are the groups that actually presented today. So I'm highly proud of them. The officials that came, they actually spoke well about the project and how the project actually came along. For the first time, we had Mr. Amri there, and so he was elated because he said, "I did not know that this was going on." He said, "I did not know this was going on. You guys need to let me know when these things are happening because I did not know." So he was taken aback to the point where he said, "Hey, let me know what's happening so we can work together in some way." So that was actually excellent. We did have the ambassador from Venezuela there. He's always at our Capstone event seeing what's happening, and so they actually spoke really, really well about the event. So that is something that we look forward to every single year, and I'm sure every year is going to be bigger and better. But I'm waiting for the year when we turn up to Capstone with a final product and and present to say this is what is the product now. Right, so that is what we're waiting on. So it has been excellent today, and I'm looking forward for Capstone again for 2023.
Well, we'll see what that's up about.
For that one.
Well, once you continue growing and continue passing on, the more better it gets. It builds, it grows until it becomes something. And for students to be showing their skills in what they learn from Dr. Ricardo Neal himself shows that they have the potential of doing anything they want once they put their mind to it. Having an idea, a plan, a thought to import your creativity, to show it out there, make it have a chance of having and people being interested into your projects. Because there's times where, if depending on how well it goes, people could buy that project after you, making it a beneficial to you as well, because you're the creation.
Well, we tend to I try to give the ownership to the students.
Yes.
Yeah, so I try to be the factor behind, like I'm the motivator to ensure when there are gaps, we say, okay, this is how you fill the gaps. Because as a matter of fact, Capstone is required for the students to work on their projects,
Yes.
and so my contact time has to be very strategic, right? So to ensure that they get the work done, and so it is accredited to them. So we try to accredit to them. So for all the projects, TVM's IT students.
Yes. So for 2023, hopefully will be all 8 projects to be out, to be presented for the idea of what they bring us to us for the first years that's coming up. They're going to be turning second years in a couple of months.
Right.
So I would wonderfully like to see what it brings to the table.
Yeah, I'm eager to see, because as I said before, I'm not saying that the students have to stick to the all 8 research projects. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about this, and I need to call them the 8 pillars.
8 pillars.
I'm really thinking because these are like the set in stone project that we're working on.
The stores.
But I'm looking forward for students who have innovative ideas. As a matter of fact, we always have a philosophy in the IT program: every idea counts. And I remember students in 2015 saying that they want to design buoys, these devices out in the sea that measure different pressure that's happening out there. So we have always accommodate all technology, all ideas rather. All ideas count. So once you're in the class, in the IT class, the conversation, or in the IT meeting, the conversation is going to be, hey, what problem do you see in this society that you think needs fixing? And if you have a problem that needs fixing, let's get to work and fix it. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. Life is too short for us to be, not taking that kind of chance. Because sometimes persons want to do a lot of great things and they are caught up in boy, I don't know, or boy, I'm not sure.
They don't put them
just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just get it done. Just do it.
If you want to get it done, just get it done.
Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Because one of the questions I get a lot, I don't have enough money to start the project. No, there's no solution out there was started with money.
Yeah.
It starts with an idea. All right? Right, it starts with an idea. And that idea is all you need. And once that idea is sync with you and you are locked with that idea, then that idea is going to become a revolution.
That's amazing. Even when you put your mind to it. That's it. Once you put your mind to it, anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
So that's it, folks. It's about to be closing to the Let's Talk IT. So, Dr. Neil, hope to see you next
Yes,
week
I will
after.
hear, definitely.
And hope to have the rest of the leaders for their capstones to, talk about more about their project.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. We'll try to get them on board. But thanks for the listeners who listened tonight, and see you next week.
See you next week. Tune in to every other Tuesday on 98.9 Win FM to join us as we uncover the various realms within IT and STEAM. We also go live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch to WINNMedia SKN. Let's Talk IT also available on Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Spotify. To be updated on anything on SKNRA, check out our socials, which are Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, LinkedIn. At SKNRA, the St. Kitts and Nevis Robotics Association, or SKN Robotics Association on YouTube. And to be uploaded to everything IITA, check out our social media, which is Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, at IITA or IITA LTD. Now, a big shout out to our sponsors, like SKNRA, St. Kitts and Nevis Robotics Association, IITA, the International Information Technology Academy of Excellence, and TDC. Hope to see y'all. See y'all next week, Tuesday.
Join us on Win FM every other Tuesday for Let's Talk IT from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. to hear our hosts, Naeem Richardson and Janiqua Esdale, speak about different aspects of social media, technology, and STEM advancements in youth. Tune in, ask questions, and Let's Talk IT. Brought to you by the St. Kitts Nevis Robotics Association.
Hey, how was your day? Glad you could join us today. We got it with no time to play, with no time to wait, so we're gonna keep up the pace. Hey, most likely, y'all don't know about IT. I mean, like, most of the old folks, they don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Today we're talking IT.
Yeah, okay, hey, yeah.
Today we're talking IT.
Yeah, alright, ooh,
We're gonna keep it lively.
Okay.
Learning here is likely.
Hey.
When we're talking IT. IT.
yeah, hey,
Today we're talking IT.
know your computers, this for the viewers.
Today we're talking IT.
We attituders, we got the humor, yeah.
Today we're talking IT.
okay.
Learning here is likely.
Learn to hear is likely, so let's start IT.
Yeah.